A couple weeks ago, I was very fortunate to talk to a subscriber here on the channel. He's 19 years old and he's starting a roofing business. Like, how cool is that, right? Guy's 19. Anyways, I was thinking about what would I do if I go back in my time and talk to my 19-year-old self and say, look, here's the things that are coming up. Here's the things to look out for. Like, what would be the big things that I would pick, obviously from like a business standpoint. If I was 19 again. And so if you're thinking about starting a home services business, you're thinking about joining this industry, which is just an awesome industry, this video is for you. I want to make sure that we help set you up the right way and help teach you some of the lessons that I had to learn the hard way. Now, before we get started, if I've not met you before, my name's Steve Huber. I've been in home services now for a little over 15 years. And I have lived through every piece of the spectrum, from ground zero in starting companies to running $300 million a year companies. And in fact, my teams have done that for over a decade. So I've sold over $2 billion worth of home and service projects. Today, I own a contracting or business where we help contractors all over the United States grow and build their contracting businesses. And so I'm very lucky. I get the perspective of working with solar companies, roofing companies, HVAC companies, siding, fences, doors, windows, water filtration, plumbing businesses all over the country. And I get to see what works, what doesn't work, and share that knowledge back here with you. So with that said, let's dive on in. The very first thing I want to kind of give you an idea on is understanding how your business is going to work. So you're 19, you want to start a roofing business, and your business is going to grow over time. But there's these hard gates that you are going to have to deal with as you go along and as you grow this company. And it's a hell of a lot easier when you understand what's coming down the pipe so you can get ready for it. So let me break them down for you. The very first one is chaos. It sucks to start a company. And it doesn't matter how prepared you are. It doesn't matter how deep you are in knowledge in that company. If I went to go start a roofing company tomorrow, for example, my teams have sold hundreds of millions of dollars in roofing. I know that industry very, very well. It would still suck. Like, there's things that you're just going to have to deal with. You're going to have to deal with your email. You have to deal with your website. You have to deal with your business cards and your phone number. And when you call somebody, it says spam likely. And when you send an email, it goes to their spam folder. And when they look you up, some other company comes up that sells, novelty socks or whatever it is. And you're going to have stuff that you have to deal with. And that's part of the gig. Everybody that's ever started a company everywhere has always started off in chaos mode. And in fact, every time I had to go start like a new division, we started off always in chaos mode. Even when I had some of those things figured out, because I had to hire people. I had to look for office space. We had to figure out what the market wanted to hear. Like, your marketing is all unique. And that's just the part of the gig. You're going to be in chaos mode. And your very first goal, the only thing you want to do, is get to stable. That's it. How do I get from chaos to stable? And so what that means is that you make your website as easy as you can. You make your systems as simple as you can. You're just trying to get like sticks and rocks and get to some stability. Otherwise, you're going to be out of business. So you have to figure out how to get customers, give them a great value prop, and put a package together that they like, be able to facilitate a transaction and get paid on it, install the job, and just like trying to get to stability as fast as you possibly can. The next phase that most people think happens is way up here. They're like, awesome, I got stable. I'm making some money. Let me go hire a bunch of people to grow this company. And I'm telling you right now, that is a terrible way to do it. And you will absolutely implode your company if you try and do that. And the reason is that you are lacking control. Now, when I say control, that doesn't mean that you do everything. It means that you understand your business well enough and you have systems, scorecards, expectations. You know what should be happening in each one of the core areas of your business. Things like sales and marketing and operations and delivery and finance. You can't just go hire somebody to run marketing for you. Well, you can, But if you have no expectation of marketing or even how it works, or it's this mythical thing to you that exists over here, you are in a very vulnerable position to get screwed because you don't know what's good. You're also in a very vulnerable position to fire really great people because they may be crushing it and you don't have any idea what even good looks like. I think about it like if you're trying to manage a soccer team, right? But you don't even understand the goal and the rule of soccer, you're not going to be that great. You may have the world's greatest players out there on the field, but you wouldn't even know it because you don't understand the rules of the game. And that's what control is. Control is all about understanding our business well enough so that we can actually make good decisions and we can be in control of it. So once you get your company stable, what I'd love to see you do is get some control over it. And once you got control, now we can go scale. And by the way, these things happen significantly faster than most people assume they do. The traditional thinking for how you get control is like this. Here you are. You're going to run full speed until you hit a wall. And then you're going to bounce off the wall and come back and run full speed again until you hit the wall. And eventually you'll hit the wall so many times that you'll figure out that the wall was only 3 feet wide and you should have just gone around it or over the top to do what you needed to do. The problem is that there's an infinite amount of walls that you're going to hit along the way. And most people either get tired of hitting them or they go broke running into the wall so many times that they can't actually do anything other than just get to stable. Because you cannot grow a company unless you have control on it. Most people think you can, but you can't. And you'll be blindly delegating all over the place until you actually understand the positions that you're trying to hire for. You have a meaningful way to track them, measure them, manage those people that you've hired in to run these key positions for you. And now you can scale. That's how you go from hiring one sales rep a year that you constantly turn over like one spot. You can actually hire like 20 people, but you're just burning through people all day long, to hiring 10 people a month. And most of them stick. You have to get control. Otherwise, you look incompetent. You don't look like you know what you're doing. The final one, by the way, is exit. This means you either exit the daily picture or you sell the business for a big fat pile of cash and you go do what you want to do. But you need to understand that your systems work, you're able to scale the company, you've got control, and now finally we can go exit the business downriver. Okay? All right, the next thing I want to make sure that you understand is why that is. Like, why do most contractors struggle going through this curve? And that's because, if you think about when we very first start our business off, here's us, and we're trying to build like our little house, right? There's my bad drawing. And it's fairly easy to build a house. We get like some materials together. We have a rough idea of what the house looks like. There's not a whole lot that goes into it that we need to worry about. But if I said instead of building a house, I'm going to have you build a skyscraper, okay? There's some other things that you need. Here's our little windows on our skyscraper, okay? Key positions that are missing that you didn't have to have the first time around when you first started your company. Number one is we need vision. If you think about, if you went to go build a skyscraper in your city, you need the person that's like, we're going to build a skyscraper. It's going to be 50 stories tall. It's going to be all glass. People are going to flock for miles around because we're going to have a nightclub on top and a restaurant in the middle. And it's going to be all these things. That is the vision of your journey. You also need a builder and that's the person to go build that vision. Now, those two roles you had right here. You had the vision to start your company. And then you had to actually build some of the things required to get it to a stable place. But you know what you need when you start building big stuff? You need an architect. And maybe I spelled that wrong. But you need an architect. You need somebody that has a plan that's holding the blueprint that says, this is how we're going to do this. I've told this story to clients quite a bit, and this is not meant to be political by any means, but they're building this big ballroom right now in Washington, D.C. And can you imagine if there was no architect on that project? Like, we just had a vision. Let's say that's the president, and we have our builders that are out building it, making it happen. And imagine the president's just talking to the concrete guys. And he says, I want the ceilings taller, and I want the door wider, and I want the wall to be bigger, and I want laser light shows, and all these other things going on. And the builders just go execute on it. It'd be a mess, right? Like, the building would maybe never get done. It certainly probably would never get done on budget. And so the architect's job is to say, we can do that. We can make the building taller. We can make it wider. We can put the laser light show in. But it's going to take 6 extra months. It's going to cost X amount of dollars. If we make the building wider, then the parking lot's going to be a little bit narrower. Maybe we can't park the kind of cars here that we want to park. That person has control over what's happening, right? And that's what you need to be. You need to be able to get control in your business. All right. So that was number one. Understanding the curve of your business and how it works and operates. Number two, understanding that you have to get an architect at some point. You have to understand that you're going to develop differently than how you first start your company. Each stage requires a different set of thinking. When we go here to scale, this is where you start doing things in a very systemized fashion. And you have to have real structure that goes in place. So think about our vision, our builder, and our architect. Now we need superintendents that are managing our frontline workers, that are following the plan that the architect set out and saying, hey, wait a second, the wall's not supposed to go there, it's supposed to go here. Get it back over here. We've got some real structure in place. And when you got all those things humming, then you can step back and you can do whatever it is that you want to do with that company. You can decide to keep it forever. You can decide to exit it. It's up to you. All right. Third thing I want to talk to you about is about mentors. And when I was 19, I got my very first start in sales working for an insurance company. And I started off in sales. I'd never been in sales before. I worked in restaurants. And my mentor was this real loose guy with money and with ethics. And he really wasn't a great mentor at all. He'd tell me to keep like $10,000 in the safe in my office. And when I had new people come in and I wanted to motivate them, I opened up this safe with 10 grand in it, and they could see all this pile of money and think, wow, this sales job must be awesome. Steve's doing great things. Like, it's not exactly a great mentor to have. And so many times I see construction owners, and construction in particular, we either hire bad mentors, we have bad mentors, we are getting mentorship from people that have never gone and done things before, or worse than all, we're dealing with mentors that have bad ethics. And so I was very lucky to where I'd kind of realized, just because I was raised right, I guess, that wasn't the right way to do things. And I never did them. And so, when it came time for me to leave, I got out of insurance. I was in it for 8 years. I left. I looked at best places to work in Sacramento. And this mortgage company popped up. They happened to be selling solar. They were getting into the solar business to sell solar to their mortgage clients. And I said, yeah, this sounds great. I don't have to travel a bunch. I get to work from a desk. Solar sounds really interesting to me. And the culture at that company was off the hook. Again, it was the best place to work in Sacramento. And the guy that owned that mortgage company is a guy named Hayes Barnard. And he went on to be featured in the Forbes 400 list for one of the richest people in America. He started a company called GoodLeap, which is the finance company that a lot of companies will know and recognize. And that's how he got his start, was selling solar to mortgage clients. And I learned so much working in that culture. That was somebody that mentored me. And people that worked with Hayes all the time were my coworkers. In fact, people from that same company that we started at, over 15 years ago today own 9-figure software companies. And they work at big national banks, people I sold alongside with. We've gone on to do some really, really cool and amazing things. And I have that mentorship when I worked at Paramount to thank for that time. So, Hayes, thank you. I doubt you're watching this, but thank you very much. The fourth thing I want to talk to you about is understanding what kind of company you want to be. At some point, life will get hard and you will hit a wall. If we think back to our diagram here, it'd be wonderful if all businesses worked like this in this super repeatable way where it was just the straight line. But kind of the day-to-day of it is going to look like this for you. Okay? And hopefully, at the end of the year, you're up and business is growing. But you're going to have these days that suck. Like, badly. Look how high you were here, man. Life was good. Boom! Something blew up and you got to deal with it. And it's in those times that you will have to define what type of company you are. Do you stick by your words or do you abandon the things that you said that you were going to do? Do you give up or do you fight through it? Do you be a good partner? You suck it up and help people out when they need it? What do you do? And so one of the things I look back at with my career is I always try to align myself with companies that were doing good work and had good ethics and had good morals. When I very first started off, I just told that story about starting at that mortgage company. Our company was called Paramount Solar. And we had a mission to put solar on every home in America. Like, that was our goal. It was huge. It's no wonder why Hayes has done very well for himself. And then the next company I went to was a company called Peterson Dean. We started a company called Solar for America. And we were one of the very first companies to really lean into American-made products. And even when times came when we had to pay more or they were hard to get, we said we believe in American workers and American factories. We believe in blue-collar people. If you notice around, as you see some of my videos, you'll see me representing American-made stuff constantly and American companies constantly because it's super important to me. And so that was something that I could live and breathe and die for. And my next company was a company called Semper Solaris out of San Diego. They're owned by veterans. We did a ton of work within the veteran community, building veteran and housing for veterans, all kinds of wounded warrior projects, free solar systems and free roofing programs for wounded vets. Those are the moments that are going to get you through these times. And so decide who you want to be, man. The only way you get here to the end is making it through these. And those are the ones that define you. And so sometimes that's where having an ear to chew on a little bit, having somebody that's been there, done that before is helpful because you can like, dude, this feels like a disaster. And sometimes it's really hard for us to see the forest through the trees within our own business. I heard the other day, somebody said, it's really hard for us to see the problem when we are the problem. And so having good mentors that can look back in at you and say, hey, everything's okay, man. Like, don't be tripping about this. Just do the right thing. keep your eye on the prize down the road. Okay? That's a great place to be. So think about what kind of company you want to be and what it is that you want to do. Last thing I would say to you, you're 19, dude. You got your whole life ahead of you. Like right now, work your ass off, man. Like do all the things that you want to do. I grinded like crazy in my early 20s, and I bought a house when I was like 23. Moved to another state, moved away from home. Like I had a Lexus when I was like 25. There's just all kinds of things that came with just me working super hard. And it set up a certain expectation in my head for the rest of my life. And there are things that I carry with me today. Now that I'm a father of 4, and there's certain expectations I have of my kids. And it's because I push super hard. So work without ego, dude. Work your ass off. Do the things that you want to do. And just realize you're going to make mistakes. But you got a long time horizon in front of you to figure those things out. You got a lot of mistakes in front of you. So many times we look at people that have, they've done certain things that we want to do, and we fail to realize that they've actually just screwed up a million times more than we have. And I could probably shoot a whole video about all the things that I have broken and screwed up before, but it made me better down the road, and it made me the person I am today and be able to do the work that I do today. So just embrace it. Embrace the chaos. Embrace the work, embrace the fails, embrace the learning that's going to come with you just pushing, and just don't stop. Don't give up. Like that's the only way you lose, is if you just stop and you start fresh. So don't do it. Okay? Keep pushing as hard as you can. And again, hats off to you, man. You're 19. When everyone else is out there thinking about going and getting their first beers at the bar, you're talking about starting your first business. Like you're going to be A-okay. But dude, just push, man. Fail as many times as you can right now, because once you get big and once it gets later and once you start having a lot of responsibilities on your plate, those failures hit harder than they will right now. So get them out of the way as hard as you can, dude. All right. That's all I had for you today. If you stuck around to the very end, if any of this resonated with you, you're like, hey, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what the plan is. I could use a good mentor in my life. That's what we do here at $1 Billion Contractor. I'll put a link down below for you guys to what we call the growth plan. It's all about helping contractors get to the next step and get control of their business. So if you own a contracting business today, that's the one for you. So we can help you ultimately get to a place where you can scale without imploding and falling apart. If you're just starting off, I love roofing. We put together a 30-day roofing launch challenge for all those people that are looking to start a roofing business and get from chaos to stable as fast as possible. My goal for you in that program is to go from chaos to stable in 30 days. And we put together a great program with a couple of great partners. I'll put that link down below for you as well to check it out. You do have to apply for both those programs. We don't open them up for everybody. We want to make sure you're the right fit. We want to make sure that it works out for you. And then we know that you can be successful, and that's how we keep a good reputation around here. So with that said, check those out below. And until next time, I'll catch you later.